Hello, and welcome back to part 2 of the anime ranking Owl Podlet, where me and Robert go over my anime list and talk about everything I put on, since I'm not a huge anime guy, but Robert is, and he can criticize my opinions. Anne is missing this week, unfortunately. That's why we're doing this. But next week, we should be doing episode 6 of Owl House again, Hootie's Moving Hassle. So stay tuned for that.
Which is an... Wait, we didn't even reference the fact last time that you had Howl's Moving Castle on your list. Anyway, sorry. But,
yeah.
It's been so long, Mark, because I haven't talked to you in ages. So.
It's been literally seconds. I can't believe it. Yeah, okay. But we can continue. We're number 20 now with My Hero Academia Season 2. This is the first 8 out of 10. I like this anime not as much as Season 1. Season 1 is higher up. But I like the characters, I like the story. I think after Season 1, the presentation fell off, but I'll get to that later. But yes, I still like this. Me likey.
I watched this when it was coming out. I also watched Season 1 when it was coming out back in 2017. What year did it come out?
I have no clue.
My Hero Academia came out in 2016. Season 2 came out in 2017.
Season 2, for the record, on my anime list, the user score is 8.1. The weighted score.
It is... I like Season 2 a lot. Because Season 2, it's sad to me that you don't particularly like it. Because... it's like Season 1 is good, because it's like that intro, it's like, boy eats hair, boy gets super strength, boy breaks his arm. And it's like, I love the setup, great, perfect. I will say that for context, my current opinion of My Hero Academia is that I don't watch it anymore. And I just stopped caring about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Season 1 and Season 2 are great, for their own reasons. I like Season 2 particularly because, and it's strange to me that you rated it lower, because it even goes into, the lore. This is lore dump season. Even if it has a tournament arc and lore dump. And I know you're not a big fan of tournament arc, but I figured you would have liked lore dump.
Yeah, what was the second half of the season?
Well, not lore dump. It was the hero killer.
Yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, that stuff was cool. I mean, I liked, that was a good plot, but here's the thing, right? Even though I like the story and stuff, I think the presentation is worse in Season 2 than Season 1. Where it'll do things like, it'll recap last episode at the beginning, which I'm not into. Mm-hmm. It started, I think, showing, each hero's powers on screen, it's just as text, which is a little clunky to me. I guess it's not strictly bad, but it's a choice I personally dislike.
It's an intro title card. Yeah. It's kind of
but even
I think it's
even when they appear on screen, there'll be subtitles that show this is what this guy does, and I guess it is good, but I dislike it.
It's something that is a direct reference to the manga and the way they introduce characters, because it'll be a character and then they get their own little card next to them, which is fine to not like. That's valid, but I will say that a lot of the time you meet heroes and then you don't actually see them use their powers for a really long time because they're not technically relevant. So it's an important level of context, because I think it would be harder to introduce a character and then have them show you the power immediately somehow, and then proceed to while I agree it's always better to show not tell most of the time, the fact that they are introducing characters consistently that always all have superpowers, it would make it a little bit difficult.
Well,
I will say that some characters, particularly villains, they do that, where they won't give them the title card right away. It's only when it's public information most of the time that they do that.
I think,
but I agree with you.
I think for me, it's if they're not using their powers, I don't need to know what their powers even are. I understand they're
use
a
their
hero.
Powers eventually.
Sure, but then I'll figure it out when they use it. I don't need to know right away. I'll get to it when I get to it. It's not important to know that this guy has fire when he's not using his fire power.
When I guess the later season, that may change in your opinion.
I guess it could be where sort of I forget the word. Dramatic tension, is that what it is? It's where the audience knows something, but the characters don't. Where if you as the audience member know a certain power of a hero, but the enemy doesn't know that hero's power, then there could be... It's a dramatic irony?
That is dramatic irony.
Okay.
You're right.
So
it's information that is available to the viewer, but not the characters.
So that could be a positive. I don't think I've experienced that yet in the show, but that could be a plus for the little title cards existing.
I would say that a more important fact is that sometimes their powers aren't actually that easy to explain visually. Is another thing that happens. I mean, this isn't a really good example, but there is a man you have not met yet, and his name is Gang Orca. He's in fact the best. He is clearly the best. Or like for instance, the mouse dude, right? The fucking principal.
Oh,
what's his power?
Isn't he a polar bear?
He's a little mouse man.
Oh, is he a mouse? I thought it was a polar bear. Anyway, his power is maybe he was an animal. He was an animal who was experimented upon by humans, and now he's super duper smart, and he can basically like predict how chain reactions happen, I guess.
Yeah, he's got super intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a mouse. His power is super intelligence. So you see how that might be like difficult to like,
I suppose it was important because they don't tell you his power until he uses it. And I guess in that case, it is important for them to come out and tell you what his power is, because otherwise you'd be like, wait, what's his power?
He also has a name. The powers of names, which is also kind of, it's like a high spec.
Yeah.
So it's unparalleled intelligence, perception, and comprehension that far surpasses any human, is the whole thing that it reads as. I'm just giving the devil's advocate to the title cards because a lot of the time they aren't super as obvious. Like, for instance, I was gonna say Gang Orca. Yeah, back to Gang Orca. You know what his power is?
Well, I haven't met him yet, so I couldn't possibly know.
You really? You think about that name?
Oh, is he a whale? Is he part whale?
Dude's just a whale. He's just a whale. But he could just basically do anything that an orca can do. Which is such a vague... Yeah, I don't know. It's just if he just started using his abilities, it would kind of be like, okay, maybe... I mean, I don't know. He got orca things going on. He's going to show up around episode, 50-something.
Okay.
But just in defense of the title cards, they aren't relevant yet. There's also people who have extraordinarily complicated quirks, I'm pretty sure. And those sometimes are better to have a text explanation a little bit. Or some sort of... I mean, they don't do a full breakdown or anything, as I remember in title cards. But it's just... as far as I'm concerned, the fact that it's popping as a title card, it's not like narration where it's like, he has the power to it's
well, they do that too.
Not always, though.
It's maybe half the time. I don't know. I feel like it's more often than not. But
I could be wrong. I'm not gonna worry about that though.
Yeah.
Continue watching, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I will. So it's currently my favorite anime because I only watch one anime at a time. So it is by default my favorite right now.
I don't think that you're wrong to rate it where it's rated at an 8. I think that pretty much all of My Hero Academia for me personally belongs in an 8 and 7 category. It's shonen, so it's admittedly it's the first time I watched shonen. I was like, wow, they actually sort of improved upon it, because once again, it's not fucking Naruto.
Yes,
I want to say that comparatively, it's great because when you put it up against things like Bleach and Naruto and stuff like that, it's great. So yeah, anyway. That's where we're at. There's a lot of... Yeah. Now we're going to get to something that we agree on.
Yes. Okay. Now we're at my number 19, 8 out of 10, Violet Evergarden.
Absolute bomb.
Yeah, it's an 8.6 as the weighted score. Less than 1 million reviews, though, so it's a little bit less popular, apparently.
Once again, Netflix anime. I mean, it's not technically Netflix anime, but it's a Netflix anime.
Oh, it is? Really?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. And there's a movie on Netflix you probably haven't seen. It takes place after the show.
Yeah, I didn't watch the movie. I didn't realize it was for Netflix, though. I thought they just picked it up at some point.
Netflix did pick it up at some point, you're right. But that's how you call it. Netflix was like, we're bankrolling, and they put their little label on it, and they're like, look, it's America, it's a Netflix. But it's actually Kyoto Animations. I say that because they did Clannad. Just FYI, they did the anime that you are so fond of.
Yes.
Yeah, Kyoto Animations does a lot of good shit. They do K-On! As well.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It's a perfect...
Made in Blender.
Ew.
I'm sorry, I have to say it. They made portions of the environment in Blender. Nobody noticed.
That's true. I don't think I could notice any 3D elements in the show. It was just like, it just looked really good.
It's insane that they did that.
So so this is another like classic, like beautiful and sad. To me, the main story never got super duper sad, but there's one episode in particular. It's basically a standalone episode outside the main plot. It is episode 10, A Loved One Will Always Watch Over You. This killed me. I cried so much in this particular episode.
Which one was it? I watched it, by the way, very recently.
It is the one, like I said, it's kind of standalone. It's where Violet goes to like a mother and
the writer.
Her young child. A mother and her young child, and the child just wants to play with her mother, but the mother needs to write these letters. And it made me cry really, really hard. And it's like totally standalone. You could watch this episode and none of the rest of the series, and you would get it. And
you could do that with all of them. A lot of them. Sorry.
I suppose. But like there's like an overarching plot for most of them. This one is, I guess, technically this is a filler episode. But it's a masterclass in storytelling and presentation. It's 23 minutes, and it's phenomenal. I would recommend everyone watches, if you don't have time for the whole series, watch this episode.
I would like to say that you are correct, that a lot of it does have an overarching story, but there are many episodes that are individual, specifically the one about his father, the one about the father and daughter, the one about the child who had to who's like the royal child who had to like get married off.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
All of those, a lot of the episodes in this are actually episodic, but the only different factor is the growth of the individual character, Violet.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really need to see the episode before or after to see and also the observatory episode. So like that's already like a third of them are literally completely episodic.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, yeah. No, I'm just letting you know that you can break it down. I was gonna say the one with the playwright. Sorry, the playwright one was the one that got me. That one was sad. She tried to walk on water. It was silly.
Oh, okay, yes, I remember that one. That one was also good.
I'm pretty sure that episode also, that scene with the water, I'm pretty sure was an application of Blender. I want to see if.
You have to know, did they use Blender in this anime? Because it's so good.
I know that they use 3D software at a bare minimum. I think if I point it out, it might be a little bit more noticeable, but I want to see. Yeah, you can see it a little bit if you go to I'll send you something real quick. The walking on lake, the water is you can kind of see it's done in a 3D, so there's a little bit of a 3D environment, but only after pointing it out that the water was using that. Also, yeah, if you go to episode 38 seconds into that, you can see it's actually literally the thumbnail. But yeah, no, it's just for we're gonna throw in a little 3D software there. It's fine.
I basically can't tell. I don't even know if I can tell. It's so good.
It's because they used it as a tool. And I always like it when 3D software is used as a tool to enhance and make it easier on the animator and isn't just to completely just not, it's an excuse to not work on a project make it look good. So Violet Evergarden always gets a pass. Definitely falls within the 8-9 category for sure. And that's exactly where it's scored at. It's scored an 8.6.
Yes.
I know a lot of people didn't like it, which was weird.
I
don't know.
Interesting. Anyway, we can move on now. Violet Evergarden, good. The next one, we have Mob Psycho. Finally, the one you like so much. I gave it an 8.
One of my favorites. You gave it an 8. I would probably put it in the 9, close to 10 category if I gave things 10s. Do you understand why it's a secret slice of life, or why I described it like that?
Yeah, I think, at least for most of it. The second half, one of the things I was a little bit down on is the second half-ish. A lot of it was just in the facility, the psychic facility, and it kind of stopped being slice of life for those episodes, and it was a little bit slow.
That's the point, though, Marcus, is that it pulls you in, it very as quickly as it possibly can, pulls you into. Keep in mind, you watched like episodes of like other stuff where arcs were longer than that. Keep in mind, this isn't the full anime. It's a 36 episode anime. There's 6 episodes dedicated to the secret society arc. Mm-hmm. And the whole point is that by the end of it, you're like, oh man, it's this whole thing. And then it's just because Mob is also getting pulled into it, is the kind of point.
Yeah.
Is that he's like, oh, I'm the psychic and I'm doing my psychic things. And then Reagan shows up at the last episode and is like, you're a dude. You're a person. You need to like get a job, man. This is like weird.
I do like Reagan. I was initially a little bit unsure because it's like, well, he seems to be nice, but he's also definitely taking advantage of this middle schooler. So is he a good guy? But then I feel like I'm definitely okay. No, he is actually, even though he kind of technically is, he gets a pass because he cares for Mob for sure.
He definitely cares for Mob. He's working on his own way, but I think it becomes clear that, like, because at the beginning it's like, oh, he's a scam artist, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's the slow progression is that he doesn't actually change as a character throughout that. He does change in season 2 a little bit, by the way. But I think there's also added context in season 2 that makes Reagan and Mob's relationship even better. And I don't want to say what that is, but it's like it was such an information drop when I watched it that I was like, okay, that's fucking insane. But it recontextualizes a large portion of the show that makes Reagan even better. Reagan is not his psychic teacher, he's his life coach. That's the idea. He literally just gives him advice and tries to coach him into making sure that he's going to develop as a person. Which was the whole point. And the fact that he literally took a blow and like he was ready to fucking die to protect Mob, I think in the final episode is fine. I mean, I don't know if it's spoiler, I guess, but he's not going to die. It's fine. Just I think that like the fact that they ended that entire arc in that way was the reason they spent so long on this facility and the psychic is because they wanted to get you to get pulled into it. I think was the purpose of it, which is why I fucking love that show because he fucks with you, the audience man. The dude fucks with you. he's like yeah, because they start off where it is sort of like he's experiencing his everyday life, right? It's like the pattern of it is different because you know how there's like a hero's journey kind of fucking wheel shit.
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you have the person, it pulls you into the unknown, you do this whole thing, right? And then like I like this because it felt like he was in the the world that is known, like Mob was there. And then he goes into this unknown world, the psychic information, and then he just gets pulled back instead of like going further in. Like it's like, okay, what? But I mean Mob does have a hero's journey thing that occurs, but the whole point is that his journey is not him developing his psychic powers further, it's him eventually learning how to like deal with his like becoming a mature and developed person. And he knows that's the journey he's on. And the psychic thing is just like an aside thing for him in reality. Mm-hmm. Which hence, the body improvement club.
Yeah. Which, okay, I love that because initially I thought, the body improvement club, these are like bully characters. Here's the thing, because like there's we get introduced to like I remember the psychic club, I think, first. And so like we're endeared to them because we're introduced to them first. And then we get shown the Body Improvement Club and like, oh, those are the adversaries. Those are the bad guys, the villains. And then at the end of the episode, Mob joins them, and you're like, wow, that's interesting. He joined the bullies. But then you're like, oh, these are just genuinely good people. They're not bullies. Yeah. They're like awesome, cool dudes who are supportive of Mob. And they're like, because I thought, oh, they're going to like bully him and be like, wow, you weak little scrub. But they're not like that. They're like, come on, you can do it, Mob. We got you. Oh, you passed out running? We'll get you back. We'll get you some water. Don't worry about it, bud. I love it. They're so good.
Season 2, amazing. Oh man, also just keep in mind the fact that they all go to try and rescue Mob.
Yeah! They're like, they got one of our guys. We gotta go get them back. I love it. They're so good.
Yeah, no. It's, that entire fight scene with, and then also Tall Hair Man.
Yes, I love how he gets a wig that's just super obnoxious.
I think that you particularly will like Season 2 more than Season 1.
Okay.
I like Season 1 because I was like, I don't know, it was perfect for me. Season 2 is good. Season 3 is also good. I think Season 2 is definitely regarded as the best among a lot of people. Season 3, though, has some of the best episodes. Season 1 overall I like the most. Season 2 is the fan favorite, and then but definitely watch it before you kind of forget the context of Season 1.
Yeah, I'll have to get
because
around to it.
season 2 goes even more into the fact of being like, oh, there is still a psychic organization. It doesn't like completely disregard the idea of the last 6 episodes, but it definitely it's definitely good. It's very good. The ending of it is good. It's got some banger fight scenes.
Okay.
If you, I was gonna say the fight scenes go crazy in season 2 and 3. Those are
nice. I'll have to get around to it.
You get it. There is another body improvement fight scene, and it is crazier than the last one.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Mob Psycho.
If you're wondering how the context could change, yeah, it's Mob Psycho good. We'll go. It's for Mob Psycho good.
Moving on. Now we are at The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Silly anime.
Remarkably silly. It's so silly. I gave it an 8. It is 7.75 weighted score. I like it. It's a reverse isekai where Satan comes to the human world and he has to get a job at McDonald's to like build up his power again. It is great. It is so silly, but it's done in such, it's like genuine. It's like watching the ultimate evil be humbled and like be okay with it.
It somehow, I like that it's like essentially a parody isekai. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many isekais, and this one somehow in 2013 decided to do a comedy reverse isekai, which is way before I would have expected something like that to exist, considering we are getting like season by season. There's just one garbage isekai after the other. Like literally you'll get multiple a season. Let me literally pull up right now. I want to see this. I will prove my point. One moment. And right now we got Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, which is good. We have Isekai number 1, Jobless Reincarnation. This one I've actually heard really, really good things about, but also I've heard kind of red flag things about. So we're going to skip over that. So that's one Isekai already, and it's on Season 2. We're getting more Bleach. I don't like that. Anyway, let me just see if I can find it. Oh, actually, we're getting the 2nd season of Devil is a Part-Timer. Yeah,
I heard about that. I need to watch that because I loved Season 1.
Oh, so I won't qualify that one, but also I'm gonna let you know that Season 2 is, if it follows the manga, because I actually started reading the manga after the fact, it's not gonna, I don't know if you're gonna like it as much. I think Season 1 kind of was its own, like, very unique thing. Yeah, no, so I guess there's that, and then there's, okay, here's another one. This is okay. So there's now one where it's just overpowered anime man. And then here we are. This one isn't even a parody. It's just it's gonna sound like a parody, but it's not a parody. It's just an isekai. Reborn is a vending machine.
Okay, yeah, I thought you were gonna say that. Yeah,
yeah, letting you know. So that's like 3 currently. Oh, no, there's another one. Here's a 4th one. The Great Cleric. There we are. So my point is that there. I want the space to be for something else. It's not like there's a lot of anime that always comes out, and there's a lot of good stuff. It's particularly suffering because there's probably a lot of good anime coming out there that I just don't see. All the shit that gets like put onto streaming services is all the isekai stuff. Because people watch a lot of garbage isekai apparently, and Crunchyroll will buy up all the garbage isekai and put it on their website, and I go okay. Not that I would ever buy from Crunchyroll. How I get my anime the correct way, pirating. No.
You do what you gotta do.
Is mute that part. Just say Yarhar over it. Anyway.
So yeah, Devil is Part-Timer isekais. There may be too many. There are definitely too many, but this is a good one. People should watch it.
This was a good one. There are good ones. I will say that just because it is an isekai does not mean that it's inherently bad. It just means that it's starting off where it has a lot to prove. That's all.
Okay, so yeah, we can go up. Another is the next anime. Have you seen this one? I think this one's a bit less well known.
I recognize the eye patch on the girl.
Okay.
And I also remember you talking about it a lot.
Okay. So yeah, I gave it another 8. It has 7.48 on the list. It's a horror anime where I think there's like a curse over a specific classroom in a high school where every month a student is destined to die. And
that I was gonna say, really? They didn't fix that or like shut down the school at that point?
I guess I think they tried to take some countermeasures, but they don't work.
Like shutting down the school? It just like students will just walk in there and die?
I
bulldoze the whole place.
Yeah, I think it's a specific class, like Class D or whatever. So they tried renaming the name of the class to Class E, and that didn't fix it. Okay. But there's like other things they tried. That's just one thing they tried. I think there's a bunch of stuff they attempted.
I'm not judging it based on that, but that's still funny. If they were like, oh, what are we going to do? This cursed classroom, how do we change its name?
I mean, in America, like, they renamed the 13th floor to the 14th floor, right?
Yeah, because they're dumb.
Yeah, because they're dumb. And in Japan, they do the same thing with the 4th floor. It's just superstition, you know. But yeah, it was good. It climaxes in a big bloodbath of high school students being killed. It's good. It's oddly violent. Actually, is it good? I saw this a while ago. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. I liked it though.
Oddly violent. I know technically it's high schoolers getting murdered, but we couldn't discredit it immediately. It's a story. It's not real. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. And it's anime. It's animated, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I know you've talked about it for a while. It's definitely on the list of things that I've been like, Marcus recommended this. I will consider it.
Yeah. I'm sure it's probably not the thing you should watch. I guess we'll have to go over and see what I would actually tell you to watch. No, I already know what the answer is, so we'll get to there later. But yeah, I liked it. I like horror stuff sometimes. I don't like all horror. I don't like jump scare horror. This isn't that. I don't think anime has ever done that. So it's pretty good. It's kind of spooky. Just like curses. I think it had good music. It had some good imagery, if I recall. But yeah, we can move on from that. I think I have nothing else to talk about. Now we're at Angel Beats. My number 15, another 8 out of 10. The user score here is also 8 out of 10. I saw this a long time ago. Yeah, have you seen this?
I haven't. I've heard a lot of really good things, though.
Okay, yeah. So it is basically all the character. It's a high school asterisk. They're all dead already, and they're in like a purgatory where they don't...
Once again, exactly what I was thinking about Death Parade, about you liking it. It's definitely attacking the subject in a different way.
Yeah, because here it's they go to this place when if you're not ready to die when you die, you go here to this high school, I guess. It's Japan. Sure, it makes sense, whatever.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it makes total sense. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So they're there, and there is a enemy person called Angel who... So when you die in purgatory, you just, like, respawn again. So they're at war with this character called Angel, who is a very monotone, at least in the English dub. I can't say for sure about the Japanese stuff, but in English,
they would probably continue that over. I'll let you know.
I would assume so, because I think that's actually part of her character that's important. Yeah, kind of a robotic person, and there's like kind of a romance in the background of this, and you just get to see people basically moving on. It's an anime about accepting that you're dead and being ready to move on into the afterlife. And it was good.
Angel just keeps beating the shit out of them until they accept that they're dead and move on?
No.
Go.
It's bizarre. I am a little bit... Do I remember why it's important? Why is Angel there? Angel is just another person who wasn't ready to die yet, but her, powers in the afterlife manifested differently.
Oh, they got powers in the afterlife?
Sort of.
Damn.
She got power. I think there's guns. The other students, they all have guns, and they shoot at Angel. I think maybe, as I'm describing it now, it might be kind of tonally disjointed, where it wants to be an action anime, but it also wants to be a philosophical, reflection on being okay with death. So I don't know.
That's literally... Well, crazy. I know an anime that just does that exactly. It's called Fullmetal Alchemist. Anyway. And it does that perfectly. Okay, well...
I
say that, and I'm not joking, because that's literally the whole dilemma of the main villain.
It's true. Man, this is a good one from memory, at least. Also, the main character... He has amnesia. It's another one of those stories. So he ends up in this purgatory by mistake, basically, because he wasn't supposed to go there.
Oh, he wasn't ready to die because he didn't know he was going to die because he didn't know anything.
Yeah, something like that. They unlock his memories partway through the anime, and then you see what happened to him. But yeah, he got there by mistake, and he got involved with this high school drama.
How do you get? Does that imply that the afterlife can make mistakes on where it's putting people?
I guess.
Okay, I really want to watch this anime.
Yeah, you can tell me what you think. It might be mid as shit because I watched this a long time ago. I
have watched plenty of mid garbage, Marcus. It's fine. And bare minimum, I'm not watching this because I'm expecting it to be good. I'm watching this because it seems to have an extraordinarily silly premise. Also, I see the episodes listed. In the final one, he's wearing like a very bad bald wig over his, and he's like holding onto his glasses. And that's for the final episode. So
I don't remember that whatsoever. So
yeah, I don't know. It seems unique, at least.
Yeah.
It'll be low on the list, Marcus, but it'll be on the list.
Okay, great. I'm glad I could introduce you to mid garb. I gave it an 8. I'm just calling it. I assume if I rewatch it, I would think it was mid, but I have it at an 8 right now.
Most of the things I rewatch, I usually think are mid, except for Mob Psycho Season 1.
Okay, yeah, we can move on now to Bakano. This is great. Another 8, user score 8.37. People like this one. Voice acting, I think this is universally agreed by most people, where the English is better than the Japanese because of the accents.
I have heard a lot of stuff. This is actually very high on my list of things to watch.
Okay, yeah, this is really interesting. The presentation is super unique, where there's like 3 or 4 stories that happen. Kind
Pulp
of
Fiction it. They Pulp Fiction it, and the stories intertwine with one another.
They kind of do. They don't like. I don't know if they ever meet up chronologically because I think they take place a couple years apart. But they have thematic ties and like plot MacGuffins that feed into each other.
I will say that you need to watch Pulp Fiction.
I do.
I'm just gonna keep recommending Quentin Tarantino movies based on the animes that you like. It's gonna be like, oh, you really like My Hero Academia? Ever heard of something called Kill Bill?
Bakano, it's good. I remember, like, the premises there is immortal people, they become immortal and they can't die, and if they get shot, their blood just, like, goes back in their body and they regenerate. They have Wolverine powers, I guess. And you kind of learn how... It's not really about that, it's just the characters have that. I don't even know what I would say the anime is about, because things just it's like, you know, like 1920s New York. It's about listening to the accents. That's what this anime is about.
Cool. Based on this, and it doesn't look like it's on your list, watch Blood Battle Blockade. What's it fucking called? Blood Battle Blockade is based on this. I haven't seen this anime that you just described to me. But in terms of it being like, what was that anime about? I had a very similar attitude when I watched Blood Battle Blockade Battlefront. Sorry.
Jeez.
Blood Blockade Battlefront?
A battle bit remastered.
Its synonyms are Bloodline Battlefront. It's a lot of B's. You'll find it. It's pretty easy. It's basically also in New York. I was going to say, which is funny. It also takes place in New York City, except it's in the future where, like, reality, like, shattered. So, like, a bunch of dimensions just all, like, intersect there, but it's still just New York City. So it's just you have a bunch of weird fucking motherfuckers running around, and they're just part of society, and they're in New York City. And there's, like, vampires and, like, talking fish people. And, like, dimensional, like, eldritch beings and, like, shit like that.
Huh.
Yeah, no, but it's all, like, just with this extraordinarily light atmosphere about it for most of it. But yeah, you follow this one kid who basically has, like, eyeballs that, like, because he, like, made, like, he accidentally, like, got, like, the favor of some god, essentially. He got, like, super eyeballs, and now a bunch of people want to fucking cut his eyes out. So... Ooh. So he's, like, running around, and he's got, like, protection from, like, a team that he kind of joins, and, like, in terms of visually looking fucking cool as fuck. This anime definitely plays into that a lot. There's a lot of really good shit in this anime that you would absolutely love. It has 2 seasons. Season 1 would be enough, but like, yeah, no, it's very good. There are some sad episodes, there's some not sad episodes. There's but based on what you were telling me about liking Bakano, imagine if Bakano basically had eldritch horror beings in it. I guess maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen Bakano yet.
That actually would be really cool, I think.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's interesting. I recommend it based on you liking Bakano, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll watch Bakano. It's on the list.
Yeah, Bakano is a good. But you have to watch it in English because
I will.
The English they have 1920s New York accents. It sounds really good. All right.
I'm walking.
Exactly. That's what they do.
Did they say I'm walking?
I don't remember. They might. I'm not sure. Anyway, we can move on to my number 13. We have Elfin Lied. User score 7.48. I have heard through the grapevine that this anime actually is bad if you watch it when you're a mature human being. I don't know. This is one I also watched a long time ago, but this one, I remember a lot about this one, actually. Whereas a lot of the other ones, I don't remember. Like Angel Beats, I think I watched this and Angel Beats around the same time, but I really remember this one, whereas Angel Beats, I'm super fuzzy on. Have you seen Elfin Lied?
I have not. I've seen the picture for it, though, because I will let you know that it is definitely at a bare minimum, like, very known.
I think it's known because it has, like, it's, quote unquote mature, but it's like edgy mature, where it's super violent and there's nudity.
Yeah, I was reading the synopsis and I was like, Yeah,
so basically, they are I don't remember what they're called, but there's like superhumans. They have a special name.
The Diclonius.
That sounds correct. I mean, at least, I don't think you're saying it right, but yes.
The Diclonius.
Diclonius, maybe?
Diclonius.
Okay.
Diclonius.
So yeah, the Diclonius, it's like a race of, they are people, they look like people, but they have little horns on their head, and they have like invisible psychic tentacles attached to them that vibrate really quickly, so they're like invisible to the human eye, but they can cut through anything, and they apparently just want to kill people. So they have, whenever one is born, they either have to kill it like immediately, or they put it in this facility where they like do tests on them. And our not quite main character, but the lady on the cover, she escapes and she kills a bunch of people on the way out, and then she gets shot in the head and gets amnesia and becomes not even just amnesia. No, that's wrong. She doesn't get amnesia. She gets a split personality, where one personality is basically a brain-dead animal, and the other one is her with all her memories and her evil. I guess evil. It's not. They're not really evil. It's
the description says someone with the mentality of a harmless child.
Yes.
Possessing limited speech capacity.
Yeah, that's accurate. And the fight scenes I remember being good. There's some good stuff in here, and I remember, of course, I watched this in English because I watched them all in English. I remember liking most of the voice cast, except for the 2 characters who do the most talking, who is the main male protagonist and his cousin. I remember even back then thinking their voice acting was garbage, but I liked everyone else. So, yeah.
Your number, I want to remind you that this anime that you just described as is ranked higher than Devil's a Part-Timer, Mob Psycho, Violet Evergarden, and My Hero Academia.
Really? Elfin Lied is higher than those?
Well, because you put them on the list.
Oh,
you put them in the same category as them.
They're just all 8s. I don't have them necessarily organized because I didn't know you could do that.
I will say that just in terms of anime that you've watched and you've talked about, in the 8 category, you have basically been positive about pretty much all of them except for this one. That's what you've got to dig into.
Oh, here's the thing, because I do like I said, I remember this one quite a bit, and I do remember liking it a lot and thinking there was good fight scenes and good animation, right? Because there's violence, so like there's good blood splatters and stuff, and you get to see good,
you would love
like, like really high def decapitations and stuff, and just like the intimidation of these Decloniuses and like how scary they are. Because if you are within like 5 feet of them, you will just you can just die without any way to react or respond, and
you just explode
if they decide to kill you. Like I said, they have like tentacles, so they can just like slice through anything, and it was intimidating. And it was kind of unnerving, like how unstoppable they seemed, because how just dangerous they would be if they got them. They can block bullets with their tentacles. That's another thing. They are like basically invincible to bullet fire because they can just deflect them. It was good from memory, but I guess I can move on now because I don't know what else I can say about it. But now we get to another one that people all like. This is what is the English name of this? Spirited Away. Yes. I forgot the English name for a sec. This has an 8.7 as the user reviews. Mine is at 8 still.
Yeah.
Okay, I said earlier the Gurren Lagann was the first anime I ever technically watched. Again, that's technically not true. This is the first anime when I was baby. I was baby, child, goo goo gaga. Well, maybe not that young. I was old enough to walk and have opinions. Did I have opinions yet? Maybe not. I was maybe like 5. But my grandma bought this because I don't remember why or how or whatever, but when I watched it, it was too scary. It was kind of borderline traumatizing when I first tried to watch this, and it was because there's ghosts and stuff, and her parents get turned into pigs, and she's alone. It's really scary if you're 5 years old. So I couldn't watch it. Then in junior high, I came back and actually watched it, and I like it. It's a really good one.
It won Best Animated Feature. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I did. It's one of the few anime maybe the only anime to ever win Best Anime.
I mean, yeah, it won Best Animated Feature. You're right. I think it's the first. It was not the first anime. I mean, I'm not sure if it's first anime. It probably is, but it was specifically the first international animation to ever be nominated for Best Animated Feature. I'm pretty sure it was definitely the first one to win. So the first non-American animated movie to get nominated and win. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, no, it deserves all the credit that it gets. There's a reason that I got soot sprays on our kitchen, just hanging out up there. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it's because they were Christmas ornaments that we made, but there's a reason they stayed. That's all.
Yeah. And I think everyone knows this one. I think it's probably the most well-known Ghibli film for some reason. I guess probably because it won Best Animated.
Yeah, and at least in America. Yeah. And the next one on your list, I think, deserves to be.
Yes. The next one is Princess Mononoke. This one, what is this user review? I still have an 8. They have it at 8.67. This one is great.
It was one, I think at the time, the longest movie that Miyazaki had ever made.
I think it might still have the record for longest animated film ever.
Longest animated. Let's do it. I just typed in the longest thing.
Show me the longest thing in the world.
Show me the longest thing. There are longer movies. Runtime in this corner. There were movies before this that were longer. I'm just trying to see. By the way, I'm just going to be clear. The entire list is essentially taken up by Japan for the most part. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is at 20, by the way. Violet Evergarden, the movie, is at 19. Runtime for the movie was 2 hours and 13 minutes, which is a considerably long movie.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind, it was 1997. Spirited Away almost matched it in time. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes. I'm not sure,
what is number one, off curiosity's sake?
Curiosity's sake, it was In This Corner and Other Corners of the World. Extended cut of the original titled In This Corner of the World. So it was actually an extended cut of something. Below that is 30,000 Miles from Shangran, but it's a page that doesn't exist, so I can't actually get any information on it, which is a movie from China. It's not a lot of movies that I've actually ever seen. Literally Spider-Man is the first US entry on the list.
I wonder why I thought Princess Mononoke was like the longest one. Maybe it was the longest at the time?
It's I don't know if it was the longest. No, it was not, because these were all released before Princess Mononoke. A lot of them were like Final Yamato was 1983. It's just the longest movie he ever made.
Okay. I guess that must be what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, it was the longest movie he ever made. And I will say, very pretty. I love that movie so much. It's probably one of my favorite of his movies.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I think people have described it as the Legend of Zelda movie, because it kind of is.
I mean, they're probably saying that because all the little tree spirits, you know?
The tree spirits, and just like the vibe. It feels very Legend of Zelda, like the ancient villages and the hero with the sword and stuff. And...
I mean, I don't like the comparison.
Okay.
I will say that I don't like that comparison. I mean, just because like Zelda's like about like, you know, this like prophecy and like, you know, this repeated cycle, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And Princess Mononoke is following the character who's playing sort of as an intermediary between this like battle of like the environment versus like human progress.
Yes.
And like trying to like just thinks that people can live in harmony and they don't need that. And it's like, I like the fact that both sides don't inherently feel negative. I was really getting the feeling of like the unbiased nature that he was having towards it. And I think that because it's like, there's like the lady who runs the Iron Town. She's a fucking asshole. I mean, not really. No, she's not. I'm just joking, by the way. She's great. She's like, take care of lepers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
She's actively trying to take care of her people, and
it's great.
Like the large portion of what she's doing is like to protect her people. And arguably, her actions are, I think, ultimately not justified, especially if the wood creatures are sentient, living people and you're encroaching on their land, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, her whole perspective on it was that if we kill them, they become mindless and it doesn't matter anymore, which is crazy in my mind.
Guess what?
But,
if you kill a human, they also become mindless.
Yeah, she wanted to, like, kill the forest spirit, and, you know, I think the movie is interesting because essentially she wins in that movie. Spoilers for a movie made 20 plus years ago. And also doesn't really affect the really outcome. She wins, not really, but she kind of wins.
Yeah, well, it's like she won, but then the forest spirit was like, hold my beer. Time to activate my trap card.
Oh. Yeah. That was an interesting trap card. It's also like told from the perspective of a character who you know is ultimately doomed to die, which is interesting. I will say that in terms of it being my favorite movie, I actually take that back. I think I like his another movie he made much more. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a much older movie. What's it called again?
Is it like the thing of the fireflies? Is it that one?
No, it's The Princess of the Wind.
Oh, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind.
Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. Definitely I like more, just because those fucking bugs are cool as shit. I love those fucking big old bug forests, toxic bug forests.
Yeah, I do want to see that. I haven't seen it. I've only seen these 4 on my list.
Good. Princess Mononoke, definitely one of the best Ghibli movies. I love it. For a number of movies that he does, almost all of them involve war, which is interesting.
War and themes of nature versus people.
Environmentalism, war, and planes tend to be his main 3 go-to, because his father worked on planes when he was little. I'm pretty sure he did too at some point. Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, though.
Yeah.
Literally watch that if you ever get the chance.
I have to. It is one I've wanted to see for a long time. I think on my list, we're out of movies now. We're moving back into only episodic animes. Or my top 10, these are now my 9 out of 10s. Now we have The Promised Neverland here.
Season 1.
Yeah, I have not seen season 2, and I don't think I ever will, based on what I heard about it. The user review is 8.5. Yep. I have the 9. I loved this. It was so good. It was so cathartic. Like, I know at the end it's technically not resolved, because...
You can watch it at the end and be fine.
Because like, the thing is, at the end... The plot is done for me. Like, yeah, I guess there's still unknowns in the world and stuff, but the whole thing is it's a prison break movie, right? Shawshank Redemption, we don't need to see him running away from cops when he gets out of the prison, because the whole thing of the movie is getting out of the prison. Like, this... I
will say that the ending of the movie, they do show him going and getting on his life and like living in Mexico at the end of Shawshank Redemption, but
yeah, I mean,
I agree with your point ultimately.
Yeah, it's because like, I don't care if they're still in a dangerous world, because the point of this anime was to get out. And, like, that's whether they get out or not. The story ended for me. I don't care what happens after that. They did it. So it's phenomenal. I liked this so much.
As somebody who watched the first 3 episodes as they were coming out, and then proceeded to read all of the manga is also good. The issue is really with season 2 of the anime. I will tell you that because it goes from being a prison break anime to them realizing that they are in fact in a larger, worse prison.
Okay.
Which is it's not a literal prison, but that is sort of the intention. And they have to sort of replan a breaking, but on a larger scale. And it does follow similar like thoughts. And it like there's like a bit on the run. The issue is that the anime basically cut out a large portion of it from what I heard. I never bothered to watch it either because people who read the manga were upset.
Yeah.
Being clear. The issue wasn't that people didn't like season 2 or whatever. It was, I mean, people didn't like season 2, but it was also that it upset people who read the manga and liked it because they weren't even happy. Nobody was happy with season 2.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Season 1, perfect. Premium, loved it. Amazing.
Yeah, super phenomenal.
Top tier.
Yeah, I guess we don't need to say any more about it because it's just so good. Can move on now.
You summarized it.
Yeah, I summarized it. It's so good. Now, we have My Hero Academia Season 1. The user review for this is 7.88. People, I guess, don't like this very much. I love Season 1. I gotta say, so, to me, this is an anime. It's about overcoming adversity through overwhelming odds. It's an anime about hope. And
through effort.
Yeah, hope through effort, and about the symbol of justice and a peace for humanity and just overcoming. I like it a lot.
I would put it at an 8, except for the final fight with All Might and the Nomu, and that goes at a 9.
Oh my god, that's so good. Because the music, that is like, okay, I gotta say, You Say Run is maybe the best anime song ever written.
Have you watched the movie?
No.
The first movie they made?
No, because I think that comes out after season 3. I'm watching season 3 right now.
It technically takes place, you'll see the episode where they basically say you should watch the movie.
Okay.
Because the movie's like, because they're like, let's go to the island, they're going on vacation. Like, it's like a whole like filler episode where they basically point to the movie.
Okay.
And if not, you could straight up like, watch the movie. For the most part, pretty much like, just anywhere in the middle of season 3 I think. So anyway, yeah.
Because
I watched it in theaters and it was great.
Okay, yeah, I wish I was a fan back when it came out because I would have liked to watch it. It's just the marriage of that fight scene with the music and how synced it is and well timed it is with like, oh my god, it's so cool when it uses the plus ultra move, which up till that point was words I didn't have context for. I'm like, I guess that's their catchphrase, but no, it's because it's his final smash, and it's like, oh my god, yo, that's so cool. And the animation of like all the stars connecting through his power.
Yeah,
I love that visual. It's
can I tell you right now?
Uh-huh.
You're gonna really like season 3 because that's not his final smash.
Yo, what? Yo. Yeah, I'm like.
And all his, by the way, his moves are named after like American states.
Yeah, I love like his like Detroit Smash and Texas Smash.
Yeah,
because I mean he's a Superman character. He is a Superman stand-in, and it's great.
Yeah.
I love him. I love his design. I love both of his designs. I love both of his voices in English. I guess they're great English voice acting. So I have to say, I have to try to defend myself whenever it comes up. I like the English. Okay.
I watched the movie in English because it was in theaters. And it was jarring because I had listened to it in the other thing. I think it's just the issue is that really when you're swapping between the two, you just need to pick in the beginning. I like the voice actor for Bakugo because he's just like, ah! Yeah,
he's so, God, what a fucking asshole.
I think it carries better in the Japanese than it does the English. But I'm glad that, but you know what I'm talking about, so at least they do it.
Yeah, they still managed. His personality, you can tell what his personality is in English. It's great.
It's good.
So yeah.
You have anything else you want to say about it?
I don't think so. It's I just like the music. And moving into another fight anime, we have One Punch Man Season 1. The
literally
user reviews are 8.5 are on user reviews. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Also, a great satire, a great reversal of Dragon Ball. Basically, is I think their biggest thing.
Also, the person who made Mob Psycho, just putting it out there.
Yeah,
same dude.
So
Mob Psycho came second, and I think it's better, but that's fine to put One Punch Man first.
Yeah, I liked One Punch Man season 1 more. Because it's
more of Mob Psycho. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I need to watch more of Mob Psycho for sure. A lot of anime I gotta watch, but yeah, One Punch Man is just. I like the end. I love the OK panel. It's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's very important. It was very important that they animated the OK panel.
Yeah,
it was very important. It was very much needed.
Mm-hmm.
The final fight scene of One Punch Man was probably one of the best things I've seen animated in terms of like fight scenes. And I was really excited for season 2 because I thought season 2 I didn't think in season 2 they were going to do this, but there is a better fight scene in One Punch Man in the manga that happens later with the hero killer. And we're probably never ever going to see it.
Oh man.
Which makes me so sad because genuinely, like, so you know, like the whole like idea of season 1 is that he's like really just like enjoys being a hero and he wants to do that. And he always like hits people with like that like Reagan knowledge, you know what I mean? Like where Reagan at the end of season 1 was like, dude, stop trying to be like...
Yeah, grow up. Like, you're acting like children.
Grow up. You're acting like children. You fucking idiots. You get a job. like, in this, it's the thing about Mob Psycho is that the character who does that is no longer the main character, because in One Punch Man that was fucking Saitama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like main character, Mr. One Punch Man, he humbles people, like especially in like when they start blaming him for the fucking asteroid strike, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
like,
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, like he has this whole fucking thing where he's just like, you all are being assholes. What was I supposed to do? Like you would all be dead if I didn't. I'm not an omnipotent god. It's a meteorite. Like they're mad about him and like dealing with
the meteorite. It has the same problem as Hancock did from the movie Hancock, starring Will Smith.
Well, that's because Hancock actually was basically an omnipotent god in that movie.
Oh, I forgot. Did he have the power? I thought you could just fly and was strong.
He's an angel. That's how that movie ends. Is that they're like superhero like race of like angel people or something.
Oh, I forgot. I haven't seen Hancock in a very long time.
The second half of Hancock is a real big change from the first half of Hancock. I'll just remind you. That movie is. But yeah, no, I like Kingfish. You know, fucking motherfucker. Like and like fucking Moomin Rider.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Like the message that the dude who wrote One Punch Man for such a silly show, it has like this like very wonderful like deep like theme and message of like just like trying your best and like doing what you enjoy because you enjoy it.
Yeah, never give up.
And it's got like it's been a while since I watched it, so I'd have to go back to it. But like. You know, it's like the fact that like a lot of the characters are doing what they're doing and their motivation is highly like petty or insecurity or something along the lines of that, right? And sort of by casting those things aside, Saitama and Moomin Rider were able to become their best selves.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Garo's still like trying to murder his motherfucker who like destroyed his village. That's not really a plot point anymore. But then there's like the sister psychics and stuff, right? I guess they don't really show up that much in the... That's a season 2 plot line, is it? Because, like, by, like, the end of... By the way, in the manga, he's, like, an A-rank hero now.
Yo, nice, finally!
Yeah, he's, like... He got upgraded. And also there was a fight between Saitama and the green little creature. The psychic creature. I'd call you a creature because they're a creature.
I don't remember the psychic creature.
They got they're the green hair, like, rude child.
Oh, okay.
Yes. When he points at her and he goes, "Who is this rude child?"
Yes, that was great. I love how
so
dismissive he is of her. That's
Yeah, no, it's... But, like, once again, I feel like Mob Psycho ultimately does that better because it continues with that, and as you go through, like, the seasons, it'll become clear. But he has One Punch Man and Mob Psycho are so similar but so different, and One Punch Man Season 1 was great. Amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
I loved it.
Yes.
It's ranked at 127, but has a popularity of 4 and a ranking of 8.5.
Is good.
is good.
We can move on now. These last few, yeah. So I have Durarara season 1 and season 2 listed. I didn't watch beyond that. I should have, because I really liked, obviously, season 1 and season 2.
There's more?
Maybe I only watched like the first half of season 2. I don't recall exactly what I did. Maybe I only watched the first half of season. No, season 2 is only 12 episodes. I think maybe there's not more. I just assumed there was, because where I stopped was a bit of a cliffhanger.
There's Durarara season 2 10, and then there's Durarara season 2 Ketsu, and then there's Durarara season 2 Ketsu Defufufufu.
Okay.
Which is a side story. But yeah, so it looks like there's sort of 2 season 2s.
Okay, so yeah, I must have watched part 1 of season 2, or...
I will let you know, you might have only watched part 2 of season 2.
I could have listed the wrong thing. The thing I watched was a continuation from season 1, so I might have just put the wrong thing in the list here. I don't know.
Because there's Ketsu and 10, sorry. And 10 looks like it is the thing you might have watched.
Okay. Anyway.
I didn't see... I think I made the same mistake as you, by the way, because I'm be real. I remember Durarara season 1 really well. I do not remember season 2 very well.
I don't remember this very well. I remember it being really cool, like the unfolding plot and the evolving nature of everything. It really spoke to me at the time, but I can't fucking remember anything about it.
That's absolutely fair. I think it's because it was sort of like this more like, I think a lot of my favorite anime does take this sort of like approach of maybe there not being an organized story, and it's more about the characters. And I think Durarara definitely like...
Yeah, and like the relationships with each other is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we can't say much about it since we don't remember, but it was good. Yeah, it was good, right?
It was good. It was good. I would say that the fact that I don't remember anything negative about it, and I remember it just being generally good, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it belongs in the 9 category, but I'd put it in 8 at a minimum, you know?
Yeah.
For me personally. Let's talk about the thing that you do know about.
Yes, Clannad, my first but technically third anime I ever watched. Clannad and Clannad After Story. Oh my god, this was phenomenal. So yeah, you can see here, there's 47 total episodes of this story. So good. It's again like I think a shoujo, a slice of life, supernatural stuff happening, a sad romance. And After Story, like the season 2, as memory serves, I think I probably cried like nonstop for like 12 episodes in a row.
Made you cry over and over
let's see,
again.
because I was like 14 or 15, so I had maximum hormones, and it really, really got to me. I think it could be. I tried to be fair. I think it might have just been my age. But as memory serves, this is the most I've ever cried in my entire life over anything. It really got me, and I love it for that. Also, it was my first anime, so of course there's a little bit of a bias there.
I think if anything, a first anime bias makes it like worse over time. In my mind. Because technically my first anime, for putting it that way, would have been Sword Art Online. And I fucking hate that shit. God, I hate it so much. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, no, I guess people are different, you know? Maybe you have a fond memories, childhood memories of it. I look back and I'm like, dumb piece of shit. Dare you like that anime? Anyway.
Yeah, this was... And like, yeah, the second season really doubled down on the supernatural element, which was really interesting. Because like, there's like this subplot of like this robot and this girl and this... You can see like the poster here. It's a really good poster. And it's also what made me want to watch Eden, because the poster of Eden has really similar vibes to this cover. So yeah, and they like intermingle with the real world in a really interesting way. It was just good shit. Even though I don't remember much. I guess it's... I hesitate to call it a harem, because it really isn't. There's just a lot of female characters who all like the protagonist.
That's a harem.
Yeah, I guess it is. But even
if it's a light harem, it's still a harem.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I suppose. But he only really reciprocates towards the one girl, who is...
I mean, do they all romantically like, or are they just friends?
And they all are friends. I think they romantically like him as well. But yeah, the main character, Nagisa... great. She's also kind of like Haruhi, except way nicer. another kind of weirdo. but she's super kind and really unique. I like her. I think I like her character a lot. I guess it's been a long time. And yeah, again, you have the big ass anime eyes. Maybe I like that art style because this was my first anime, so it endeared me to it right away. It's also
true. It's what you set a precedent. Mm-hmm. It's just that the eyes are like literally touching the edges of the face.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna dog on the art style too much because it is a defined style of a time, and it's just its preference at that point. But it's like how. It's like they were trying to keep adhering to the rule that if you draw eyes, you're supposed to have at least a space of an eye in between the two eyes. But they made the eyes really big, and they had to force the eyes to the edges of the face.
I see what you mean.
So I'm like, oh. Anyway. But yeah, once again, art style is only second, but it's just that, like, animation and art style is the thing that, like, even if someone's like, wow, the story's amazing, you just have to, like, get over the fact it's like stick figures. I'm like, no! Actually, I might be able to this if it was stick figures. It's silly enough that I don't know.
Yeah, the user reviews for Clannad Season 1 is 8, and for Season 2, it's 8.93.
Season 2, or do you mean the movie?
After Story. It's Season 2.
It's a Season 2.
Yeah, it's a Season 2.
Which one did you like more, Season 1 or Season 2?
I think I like Season 2 more. Most people do like Season 2 more.
That's a good sign. Because if it's...
Well, Season 2, keep in mind, that's the season that made me cry for, 12 episodes or whatever, nonstop.
I know. But you couldn't have gotten to that point without the work that Season 1 had done.
Yes, Season 1 established the relationships that made crying possible for Season 2.
Mob Psycho Season 2 and 3, Marcus.
Yo, you're trying. I will watch them. I got to.
I'm trying. And now we get to the ultimate, the
perfect, flawless anime. At another 9 out of 10, I got Death Note, baby. This anime, yo. Okay, I need to link something to you. I saw...
Anybody who's listening to this has seen it. Anybody listening to this who must at least bare minimum knows or has seen Death Note, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, everybody knows Death Note. It's... I mean, I don't know how you can't know Death Note. It's so famous. It's... Okay, here, let me...
If you don't watch anime, if you know somebody who's watched anime at some point, you would have bare minimum heard of Death Note. It does step into the real ridiculous realm, but it's still, like, there's, like, a level of, like... I like that. It's a good cat and mouse. It's just... It sometimes is, like... See, the thing I will give this credit for is that a lot of the time, my issue arises with anime when the tone shifts too much. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't do that in Death Note. They stay super serious.
Yes, it is
the entire time.
So serious the whole fucking time.
And that in and of itself adds to, like, creates humor. Because nobody's looking at the potato chip scene, which everyone always talks about, and is saying, man, it really had to be done like that. Like, they could have approached that in a lot of different ways. And they chose to play into, like they filmed it and shot it and put the same music over when Light was murdering multiple FBI agents.
Yeah.
Via Death Note, and like multiple American agents who were investigating him. And it was in the... Sorry, I was clicking my fucking bottle. I have my water bottle. I'm sorry, your audio quality. I'm so sorry. I was thinking about it. It's just that, like, the fact that he's like the potato chip and eating it is the same level of deception as him murdering and accomplishing his plan. It was the climax of the episode or something. Like, it was...
Yeah. And, like, you don't even, you're just so into it that you don't even necessarily realize how ridiculous it sounds at the time. You really don't. It's so funny. Upon their first watching, I was just kind of like, he's eating, I'm like, wait, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like,
why?
Okay, bro.
Yeah, no, it's...
And the thing that I like, so I guess this is tonally, maybe not tonally, but, like, thematically, it's a bit different from the manga, which I think I've heard takes a bit of a different approach to characterization and stuff. For me, this anime thematically is about absolute power corrupting absolutely. Where L starts off as a pretty normal, nice person. He gets ultimate power and he turns evil.
immediately, which is funny.
Yeah, and then super importantly, he loses his memory and becomes a good person again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, power just it corrupts, and I think it's really interesting how they played that.
That's totally absolutely fair.
Yeah, Death Note. Me like Death Note. I should rewatch it. Also, it does something. So one of my pet peeves of anime that's a super common stylistic thing is where they'll have like just the character making like a big expression, and the background is just like moving colors. That happens all the time in anime. Yeah. I don't think that happens in Death Note really, because I mean it's mostly people talking
in the background.
Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
And then I hate that I kind of understand what you're talking about. I know that Mob Psycho has done it, I think.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of anime just has that as a crutch because it's cheaper to animate that way.
Oh, yeah. No, Mob Psycho doesn't do it. My Hero Academia does it. They do it with Deku a lot.
It does happen in My Hero. It happens
Mob Psycho, I don't think it happens. I thought about it and I was like, wait, they wouldn't do that. I was like...
It happens in a ton of anime. A ton of anime does it all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think Death Note does that. Which, I mean, it doesn't really need to because it is just people talking like in a room kind of like quietly. So it doesn't have to do that for money-saving purposes.
I hate to tell you this, but they sort of, in a way, do that for Death Note.
It looks good, though. When they like fade out and they go into red and blue, it looks... That's a style...
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, okay. I think that looks really cool. I like that they do that. And
I agree. I'm not gonna fault you for that one, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a creative and thematic way to attack that idea. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. I think that a lot of the time people do like cookie cutter, and that's why a lot of the time I'll like skip anime intros. It's because they'll like cookie cutter it, and I'm like, I know exactly shot for shot what your anime intro is going to be in like the first like 20 seconds. Like I'm just kind of like, okay, so it's going to be another shot of a character walking, another shot of a character looking at the camera and smiling and putting up the sign, and then it's like, okay, yeah, all right, and then it's like all the characters, and it's like, and then it's like, no, I just don't. No, what I love in anime intros, and I can't help it, is if you put any characters dancing, then I'm good. I'm sold.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter. It's if you have like an outro and it's just like smooth animated dancing, I'm like, perfect. Love to see it. Great. Always a pleasure. They did it in Jujutsu Kaisen. They also did it, I think, in an anime that you probably have seen. I can't remember. I don't know. People, yeah, no.
They did it in Assassination Classroom. I remember that.
Did they?
Yeah, but the intro, yeah, they're like dancing.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. It can only be a little bit. It can only be a little bit of it. You can't do it the full thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do the full thing.
There's rules. There's stipulations.
I have a lot of rules and stipulations. I will... When I actively make something, Marcus, that is fully me, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, oh yeah, that's Robert. That's Robert. Yeah. It's going to be very clear because I have such very, very particular rules about all of it. But yeah, Death Note, it being a 9 on your list. Wait, is it a 10 or is it a 9?
It's a 9.
You only have 2 10s.
I only have 2 10s, and we'll get to those in a sec.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. They released a new chapter for the manga, like a few years ago.
Oh, the continued
final chapter. It was like a one-shot, and it was after Light had died and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And gone to whatever hell he belongs in.
Zero, I guess, like infinite nothingness, I guess is what they said. I don't really...
Yeah, your soul, disappears. The idea is supposed to be that maybe he became a Shinigami, right? So you can't actually, that's sort of like a maybe, though. That's sort of like more fan things from what I'm pretty sure. But the final chapter of Death Note is so good. I love the one shot so much. It's so good because Ryu gets bored again, and he drops it. And this motherfucker's approach to the Death Note was so different than everybody else because he went, "Oh, this is how Kira was murdering all these people." His first immediate thought was he knew exactly what was going on, and then he develops a plan and forgets about the Death Note for 3 years. Because he gives it back. I don't think it's really as much a spoiler, but he essentially tries to sell the Death Note. He auctions it off.
Oh my god.
To the highest bidder. And, so he, releases a thing. And, yeah, similar to the first portion of Death Note, I think it's funny because the one-shot literally follows a same narrative path as the entirety of Death Note, which is funny. because like not that he's like murdering, but like beat for beat almost. There're like certain beats that are similar, like the execution of the plan. People start trying to hunt him. He gets away with it in a sense, and then it all comes crumbling down.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this sort of like nice little capsule, and I love that one show. It was so good. I read it and I was like, that was funny to read. And by the way, yes, Donald Trump is in it. Anyway.
Oh my god! Now I gotta read it.
Now you gotta read it.
Okay. Well, that is my final 9 out of 10, because now we're into the 10 out of 10s, which there are only 2. Starting with shut up. Starting with Shiki. This is the anime I would tell you to watch that you haven't watched yet, because this is I even wrote a review. I said this is not only one of the best animes I've ever seen, but one of the best pieces of media I've ever seen. This anime pushed all other 10 out of 10s to be 9 out of 10. This is not my favorite anime, but it's one of the most important things I've ever seen. And I stand by that. This is a very important thing for people to watch. It's like Death Note, or about like the animated backgrounds. This doesn't do that either. It plays it all straight. It's a story about, like, I think don't be xenophobic is part of the message, and violence begets violence, and be careful. It changed me it made me want to be a better person, because of just how it's presented, where I had a very, very strong, basically violent hatred towards things in the first bit, and then at the end it sort of shows you, oh, that's how you feel? Well, that's why you're a terrible human being. And I'm like...
I slap you on the top of the head.
And they're like, oh, no.
That's fair. I got the same thing with Mob Psycho Season 1, like I said. The twist around is always very nice. A recontextualization and like stuff like that is always enjoyable. I have watched the first 5 or so episodes. I know that it doesn't really get to that point until about halfway through the anime.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the twist is like the last 6 episodes or something, where you really get the gut, like, oh my god, I'm so bad. Yeah, it's really, really good.
You know what, Marcus? Today is technically my day off. So, you know what I'll do? When we're done, we're finished up here, I'm going to get myself some food. I'm going to, do a little bit of work. I'm going to try to make sure I'm getting, like, ready for school coming up, because I think I'm either going to be going back this fall, or I'm going to be going back in the winter. It really depends on how I can get an advising appointment, and then I'm going to watch all of it.
Yes. That's what I did. I watched it all in like one sitting. Even though it's 22 episodes. Actually, hold on. What is the rating on... Also, Death Note. Let me just see. Death Note has 8.62, and Shiki has a 7.73. People don't vibe with this as much.
Yeah, I think Shiki is definitely... Shiki falls into like a thematic... some things... This is a transcending genre problem. Mob Psycho, for me, when you finish it completely, transcends genre. Death Note, for a lot of people, does as well, because it's, like, silly. And it, like, for a lot of people, it's silly. Like, when I say transcend genre, I mean, like, I would say, hey, you don't watch anime, you should watch this.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Shiki is absolutely like that.
Mob Psycho hits into that category for me, because I think it, like... I don't know. Like, I always forget the amount of context that you need for certain things in order to maybe enjoy them. Like... I was thinking before, when I thought you were listing the number 100 on my anime list, I thought we were going to talk about an anime called, do you know the anime referred to as Gintama?
I've heard that name before, but I don't know anything about it.
Its ranking on my anime list is 9.06. It's scored. It's number 4 listed. Only things that top it are the Bleach movie that came out, I think, or not the Bleach movie. It was like a Bleach TV show, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood in Steins Gate.
Okay.
But I would say don't ever watch that.
Oh.
Unless you have watched a bunch of anime, because it is chock full of like... I tried watching it initially, and I never got through it, because I was kind of like, I don't really want to watch this right now. But I've heard that it is deservedly very good. It's just the problem is that it is like sort of like reference packed some of the times. And it's kind of like, it's just very, like, out there. So it's like, while, yes, it's great, it doesn't transcend genre, is the problem. Death Note, yes. Mob Psycho, in my opinion, also yes. Pretty much any Studio Ghibli film, also yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they're, once again, they don't like have like a weird cultural significance. I'm not recommending the fucking vending machine anime to people, even if it was good. Because it's an isekai. And yeah, you're thinking, well, you can't recommend it without watching it. I'll have you know I've watched up to the most recent episode. It's still bad. It's horrible.
Man.
I don't enjoy it.
You hate to see it.
I'm doing the Lord's work by watching it. All right, I'm making sure I don't because whenever I have a guttural hatred for something, I immediately go, okay, I have to make sure I'm right, and I am right. I don't like it.
You have to make one of those YouTube videos, like I watched the vending machine anime, so you don't have to, and then just make a review.
It's like I don't know how other way to describe it is I just want the thing I'm watching to have a soul. And a lot of the time that anime where it's like a lot, not all, but a lot of isekai just doesn't have a soul. It just doesn't have it. There's I can't feel a person behind it. I feel an idea and somebody who was paid to write something. And I'm like, okay, great. No soul.
Well, an anime that is filled with maybe too much soul is it's the number too many souls. It's not, I mean, it's the most recent thing I put on here, so it's the number one right now, but it's not really. It's another 10 out of 10. We have the English dub of Ghost Stories. This is so good. This is another thing that transcends genre. Maybe not in a way that's good. It's infamous. It is. I can't believe they got away with this. I can't believe it. I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, oh my god, this is
the most offensive, racist garbage I ever watched.
I love the story of it, where it's in Japan, it was just like a regular ghost hunting anime that didn't do good.
Yeah.
So it came to America and they were like, look, this sucks, just please, whatever you do with the dub, make it sell, make people want to watch it so we can get our money back. And they did. They did whatever the fuck they wanted. And it is one of the best comedies I have ever seen. It's so good.
No translators involved in this debacle.
They just fucking did whatever they wanted, and I love it.
Yeah, the voice actors just straight up improv through the entire anime. And God, I scrolled to the top of your list and I saw that and I was like, I know where we're ending up. And I was like, I can't do anything about it. It's unavoidable. Fate has taken hold. Oh man, you should watch Bullet Train if you haven't seen it. Great movie. Sorry, just thinking about what I was saying and I was like, oh, that's identical. If you ever want to watch a movie that talks about fate and the way you should maybe perceive it, Bullet Train is amazing and does a really good job at that. And is like have you seen Bullet Train at all? Sorry, no. I mean, Ghost Stories. I can't believe they did that. Why?
Yeah, getting back on
track. Sorry.
So if you've seen it, then come on, it's 10 out of 10. This is genius. This is comedy at its absolute peak. You can't get better than this.
I think as an entity, not as a show, as an entity, definitely deserves a place in recognition and history.
Oh, hold on, that reminds me.
As an entity.
Oh, my anime list has it as 7.74 with only 85,000 reviews, though. Interesting.
Yeah, probably because people haven't watched the original. Or, like... Also, I've just heard the original was also just kind of, like, mid, which is kind of funny. So
that's the thing. Yeah, the original was not good. That's why the English dub was so different, because it just didn't sell well. And so they were like, okay, try this. When
you're talking about things that don't have a soul... I still think that even with the dub, it I don't know, if it did, maybe it, how would I put it? If I'd like to watch things that have a soul, Marcus, like Shiki, I think, definitely, based on what you've told me, definitely seems like something that was like a message, like a throughout sort of point, and like maybe like a themes and stuff. This is the opposite of that. This thing proved that there is a negative 10 to 10 scale for anime. You know what I mean? Like 0 being, oh my god, garbage. Like literally nothing unique about it. 10 being literally the best thing you've ever seen. It's amazing. It has like great themes. The characters are wonderful. And then -10 being like the Room version of anime.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
The ironic enjoyment, which I kind of think is a misnomer. I think if you like something, you like something. It doesn't.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
That's the reason of the -10 scale. Is that you have to. It's just distinguishing that you can like something, but for a different reason. Right?
Sure,
it just kind of it jumps up, and it's sort of just like adding detail to information that would otherwise be lost. Right? I'm not gonna say that I watched. I'm trying to think of a movie that I thought was Malignant. Right? The horror movie that James Wan came out with. Right?
Yeah.
That movie is literally the biggest piece of shit that I've ever seen. But I'm also like 90% sure that was the point, and James Wan was just being fucking goofy as hell. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen that movie, but I'm spoiling it because it doesn't matter, because they spoil it in the first 5 minutes of the movie. This woman has like a second, like, demonic demon brain. It was just, you have to watch it. The movie is so silly, and it like takes influence from like these like Italian movies that were like the way they shot the movie. But my point is that I've seen that movie multiple times because I enjoy it in the sense that I enjoy making other people sit through it. So I wouldn't like put it in like it doesn't have any positive score. It belongs in like a -7. So that there's a distinction there. I think you can enjoy something, but I think drawing the line and making that information clear, because I think that I think ironic enjoyment, you're right, is still enjoyment, but I think simplifying it does it a disservice. Mm-hmm. Because I can laugh at a movie versus laughing with a movie. And Ghost Stories was clearly something, maybe it had a soul originally, but whatever the dub is, people did not care. So it has no soul, but it belongs into the -10 category just for what the dub is.
It's great.
They cared so little. But this was released in 2001. None of the shit they were saying at that point would have been remotely construed as okay.
I do have to say, a lot of the jokes they make are like cultural, like pop culture at the time, which go over my head because I'm a Zoomer. So that was a bummer where they make references to like celebrities. I'm like, I don't know who that is. But I get the intent, so it's okay.
The anime was released the same year, but before 9/11. Thank you.
Ooh, oh my god, can you... I wonder if it was after, if they would have had 9/11 jokes. It probably would have been too soon for them. But I don't know. Maybe they would have.
But what they were saying in that show, if there was any two tall perpendicular objects that got destroyed in any sense, then they would have made a joke. They would have at least made the absence of a joke. They all would have been like, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
Yeah,
they would have something like that. Like, no, there's definitely, I don't know.
Yeah, my top 10 picks really are the dichotomy of good and evil. It is phenomenal versus something that I cannot help but love, because I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. It's insane. Just the story of how it was made alone is like, I can't believe they did this, and I can't believe how much I like it.
As an entity, it deserves its high rating. In terms of like saying it's better than something like Death Note or like The Promised Neverland or One Punch Man or like Mob Psycho is insane. but sure. You can have it on the top of your list, Marcus. That makes it your list and nobody else's.
I don't think I'm wrong. I think people would also agree that the dub is a 10 out of 10. I think.
Oh yeah, they did. I think that people agree with things just because they know I don't like it. You ask anybody who knows me, and if you ask them in front of me, and you went, "This is a 10 out of 10, right?" They would go, "I realized that what I was just talking about is exactly what I do to you." Or sometimes you'll be like, That was literally just the fucking bone thing. It was just the M-bone net.
Oh, yeah. Shit, didn't understand what the fuck you were doing.
No, it was just frustration. You know, every time as I seeing on the top of your list will have me. It'll cause me to have a passive frustration that occurs whenever I think about it. But you know, that's okay. Because it's, in a way, you're right, Marcus. It does belong there. It is in its own special way. I think it works. It makes sense as a crown jewel. I understand if that's what the purpose is.
Yeah.
At the top of your list, rising as the cream of the cream de la cream of the crop, is the ghost stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ghost Stories is good. It's goated.
No, it belongs at the top of the list, but, you know.
Anyway, we have finally gone through my whole anime list. This took forever. This part 2 was an hour and 40 minutes. This is going...
Yeah, well, it's perfect. Oh, the part 2 was only an hour and 40 minutes?
Yeah, I stopped the recording and restarted. We've been talking anime for a really, really long time.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll figure out what to do.
Well, it's a long list. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You could compress the beginning of the first episode, maybe, and then take aspects from the second recording and put it into the first episode, maybe. I don't know.
I'll figure it out.
You had the intro. Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, anyway, join us next week where we finally talk about Hootie's moving hassle. We're back to the Owl House after all this anime talk. So thank you. Join us then.
All right, adios.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.